My name is Lee Cooper. I'm the Senior Solutions Consultant here at Totara, and I am going to be helped in this webinar by basically my boss, Meredith, who is the Head of Solutions Consultancy. Hi, Meredith.
Hi, Lee. No pressure at all.
So normally we do this the other way around, whereas Meredith is my producer and she has this knack and talent for throwing things at me, such as, Lee, can you pop a link to this, that and the other into the chat? So it's going to be nice having the shoe on the other foot today, so I'll be able to do that to Meredith. So yes, first of all, there's going to be some slides I'm going to go through. I'm not going to go through too many slides. I'd rather get onto the live site demo, which will be done in one of our sandboxes. Please, if you have any questions, pop them into the Q&A. The reason we use the Q&A is mainly for tracking purposes, to be honest with you. It means that we can answer them. If there are any questions that between myself and Meredith we can't answer, then we will pop them into the community, pop the answers into the community later on today or first thing tomorrow. Any comments, any links, Meredith will post into the chat. So if you've got any comments, just general comments that aren't questions, just pop them into the chat there. The session is being recorded, so people can always watch it back, and it will also be available via the community. So if people are unable to attend, need to leave early, then they can pop into the community and they can watch it back, watch the bits back they've missed, and hopefully not correct some of my terminology and things like that. And also we'll have follow-up discussions in the community again. So Meredith, could you pop a link to the community into the chat if you've not already done it? So those of you that aren't a member of the community, please join. It's free. It's a fantastic resource. I have been on many sides of the Totara product. I've been a customer, I've worked for a partner, and now I actually work for Totara, and I've always found the community one of the best resources available out there, to be honest with you. And I still use it quite heavily nowadays. Okay, right, let's move on. So today I'm going to be offering you a demo of the Totara Talent Experience platform. The Talent Experience platform is basically our three products all together. So we have Totara Learn, which is a traditional learning management system. We have Totara Engage, which is a learning experience platform. And we have Totara Perform, which is a performance management system. And I'm going to take you through kind of I suppose a journey, a user's journey and a manager's journey today. I'm going to do it in our demo site that Meredith and I have set up. So, when you imagine what it will look like for yourselves, think of all your beautiful branding, all the marketing information that you have, all the images will be the right size. And I'm not very good when it comes to images. I just tend to download them from various websites like Pexels and use those without changing the size. So they don't always look as good as they should do. However, I'm going to concentrate very much on the functionality of the system. So for those of you that are new, I don't think I can share a poll.
Oh yeah, do you want me to do that?
Yeah, if you could, Meredith, that'd be great.
Okay. You can. I think you can end it whenever you like.
Okay, so we just popped a poll in. This poll is for no other reason than I just want to see who's used Totara before, and get an idea of kind of the level that I'm going to pitch this at. So if you can see the poll. If you just want to vote in there and tell me whether you're currently using a Totara product, whether you aren't using it at all, whether you're a partner or a Totara employee like myself, then if you just want to pop that in, and then I can see where we're up to. Okie dokie. Right, so as I mentioned earlier, the TOTRA talent experience platform is basically made up of our three products. So we have the learning management system, which is TOTRA Learn. The learning management system is, I suppose, it's a traditional learning management system. Fundamentally, most learning management systems nowadays are based around compliance. So you can see a couple of screenshots there. But the learning management system, TOTRA Learn, can do so much more than just compliance training. One of the biggest and probably the best functionalities from my being a TOTRA administrator in the past is the fact that you can actually automate so many of the laborious HR processes that sometimes L&D people have to go through, whether that's actually sending out emails to get people to join face-to-face or virtual face-to-face sessions, reminding them that they have mandatory training to do, compliance training on an annual, biannual basis. The personalization and the adaptive learning, which we'll show you an example of as we go through the demonstration. So basically you can have different learning paths for different people, different roles within the organization. And the various other things. One of the newer features is multi-tenancy as well, which I'll come on to later, which basically you can have one site that serves different parts of the organization or different subsidiaries. But you can, if you wish, you can share content amongst those. So you can have one huge catalog, but each tenant can only see bits that are particularly relevant to them. And again, in the current climate with COVID and people still slowly returning to the workplace, or in some cases actually not returning to the workplace, the learning management system deals with offline and virtual training as well. And one of the features that we do have, or piece of functionality, is we have the TOTRA mobile app, which is available on iOS and Android. And it kind of opens up learning to those harder to reach areas of organizations. I've worked with kind of manufacturing organizations where you have people on the shop floor, or you have drivers out in the field, or even sales teams that are constantly or used to constantly be in the car. And they can access just-in-time learning. So they can log on using the same credentials as they use to log into the normal website. It can be branded, and it will show them their current learning. One of the best pieces of functionality is the offline SCORM player. So that means that whilst the course page is made up of multiple activities, you can actually download the SCORM file, so the e-learning file, locally to the handset, to the iPad, to the phone, and complete it offline. And then when you connect back to the network, it will update your learning record. So the learners that are really engaged and really prepared, they can download content ready for them on a long journey to wherever it is they're going to. And again, push notifications. Push notifications are brilliant for the reminder messages. You have to complete your compliance training, or you're due to attend this virtual seminar, or this face-to-face session. If we ever get back to that, then these can be pushed through to the mobile phone. And there's just a couple of screenshots here of what the actual mobile app looks like. And that leads us on to the next piece of the platform, which is TOTRA Engage. And TOTRA Engage is very much about that collaborative side and that peer-to-peer learning, where you can create your own content. The learners can create their own content and share it with other people in their team, or within the organization, the wider organization. They can also curate their own playlists. So in my head, I always think of playlists from Spotify, where I pick songs that I particularly like and pop them into a playlist. And a playlist for learning works very similar. So you can have content, and it could be a useful article that you found on the web. It could be a PDF document, PowerPoint, or another type of resource. And you can curate your own playlist and actually just keep it for yourself, keep it for, your own personal learning journey, or you can share it amongst other people. So you can share it amongst groups, or you can share it amongst your colleagues. Again, there's kind of so many things that you can do with Engage, really, but it's actually a fairly simple piece of functionality. It's very learner centric. So where the learning management system is, almost in lots of ways a compliance tool where learning is pushed to people, Totara Engage is actually more of a pull. So learners have a look at content that's already in the system, or build their own content and actually share it with others. There's a resource catalog, again, notifications to say, a piece of content's been added, a survey's been added. And we also use a machine learning recommendation engine that recommends content based upon the learner themselves, so their persona, if you will. So the type of content that people similar to them, similar roles are consuming, and we will look at that in a little bit more detail as we go through the demonstration. Also, Totara Engage has a deep Microsoft Teams integration. So for those that have heard of the term learning in the flow of work, basically content and notifications can be pushed into Microsoft Teams from Totara. You can download Totara as a bot into Microsoft Teams, and then learners actually don't need to log into the experience platform to get those reminders, those notifications, or to actually consume that content. And the third and final piece of the talent experience platform puzzle is Totara Perform. So Totara Perform is a very flexible performance management system. It promotes the use of continuous performance management rather than the traditional start of year, mid-year, end of year performance management processes that get quite a lot of bad press, but they are effective in some organizations. Totara Perform gives you actually the flexibility to use a combination of different types of performance management activities to improve the performance of the organization. Continuous performance management is one of the hot topics at the moment. It's been encouraged in many organizations. To me, in its most simplistic form, it's just about having those conversations more frequently rather than letting things kind of escalate in some cases over a period of 6 months and then say to somebody, oh, 6 months ago you did something wrong, when actually having the conversation there and now is the best way to get the peak performance out of your employees and ultimately out of the organization. As I said, there are various things that you can use. You can use appraisals, check-ins, feedback, activities, and also goals within there. I'll be doing a webinar in November on looking at competencies and skills. So feel free to sign up to that one as well. That's the advertising on the Totara website. Meredith, if you could pop a link into the future webinars in there, that would be very, very gratefully received. And as we go into the demonstration as well, hopefully you'll be able to see kind of the benefits of the performance management system with the different levels of reporting, competencies and skills, and the way that they can be used to identify gaps within the organization, skills gaps, but also kind of create those transferable workers. So, if you have a worker with a particular skill set, then they can potentially add value to a different part of the organization that needs that particular skill set. Altogether, those three products form the Totara talent experience platform. So, do we have any questions at all yet, Meredith?
We do not. You are off the hook, but if you need me to buy you some time while you take a sip of water, I can keep talking.
No, I swallowed it very quickly then, so hopefully I won't get any hiccups. Right, so
good.
I'm going to jump into the platform now. That's the slides done. That's the boring bit done. So let's finish this off. I've cleaned up my desktop, especially for you guys, which doesn't happen too often. Right. I'm going to do a new share, and there we go. So if you just let me know, Meredith, if my screen is visible.
Yeah, it sure is. Yep.
Brilliant. That's great. Thank you very much indeed. I'll just get rid of these other tabs. Okay, so this is the TOTRA talent experience platform. It's a vanilla site. So this site doesn't have any custom code. It doesn't have any integrations on it. I've added some logos and some images just so you can see kind of a little bit about how it can look for different people and or different audiences, which is something I'll come on to in a minute. It's also fully responsive straight out of the box, which is if I just shrink the size of this screen, you'll be able to see this is kind of a mobile phone size. And if I go to kind of a tablet size, you can see that the screen size responds. And in this demonstration, I'm going to first of all log in as a learner called Leah. It's easy for me to remember with my name being Lee. But if you also look up here, you can see whenever I'm doing the demonstration, I always try to put the name or the type of person that we're looking at. So for example, a learner is somebody who just has access to this system, who can log into the system, but doesn't have any management responsibilities. They're not an administrator, a tutor, or anything like that. They're just a learner. They just go into the platform to consume content, do the learning, and hopefully improve the performance. So I've logged in as learner. One of the first things is here. This is a dashboard which has various navigation points on it. We have the menu across the top, which, you know, similar to many websites that people will have seen, that they have menus across the top. But also there's some customized features here. So we have a trending block, which shows me content that is popular at the moment. I also have some quick links to different areas, such as featured content, my learning, my library, the full catalogue that's available to me. Also my development area, which is where I'll see my competencies, and also some workspaces for me. And as I scroll further down, you can see here, this is my current learning, so I can jump straight into any content that I've recently been accessing, so work, health and safety, or content that I have to complete is also available to me here. So I can see that there's a program. It's due on the 24th of October, and at the moment I'm 71% of the way through it. So not got too far to go. However, my introduction to mental health course, I am 0% of the way through, which means I've got a little bit more work to do there. I can also jump into the catalog. Now this catalog is configurable so that it only shows content that is relevant to me. So for example, I in this case have a particular role, and I am in a particular audience. Now an audience is basically a group of people with something in common, and an audience can be based upon a job role, so everybody that works in HR, or it can be based upon the organization, so it could be everybody that works in a retail branch. And you can also combine these as well, so you can have some, you know, everybody with the name Cooper that works within the HR function. But these audiences are kind of fundamental. They're the foundations to the system of what people can see, what content people can access, and also what dashboards and landing pages they get access to, and I will come on to that as I show you a little bit more later. The audiences are great for personalizing learning as well. So if you have an audience that's for new starters, for example, you can push content that's relevant to that new starter. So you can push induction programs out to them. You can enroll them into workspaces that are around induction, and you can also assign them competencies and skills that they need to achieve as part of their induction process, however short or however long that may be. Just go back to here. I'm just going to jump into this piece of content, which is an introduction to mental health course. The platform integrates with various kind of content marketplaces. We're just looking at LinkedIn Learning at the moment, which should be launched in the coming months. But this is the Go On marketplace, and this is just a basic piece of e-learning course. You can see I've clicked on it, I've gone straight into the course, and there's no numerous clicks to get into there. So traditionally learners go for the path of least resistance. So by enabling that type of activity where a learner can jump straight into the content that they were previously looking at, it increases engagement and just reduces one of those barriers that people will often throw at HR, L&D people's laps, saying it was too complicated, too hard, I couldn't find what I needed to do. So these blocks, you can see it's now changed from the health and safety course that I was doing into an introduction to mental health, which was the last course that I accessed. Any questions at all, Meredith?
No, none just yet. Do let me know when you want me to run the next poll as well.
No worries. I'm just going to jump back to the find learning. So this is the full course catalogue that in this case Leah has access to, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the filters down the left hand side here. So when Leah logs into the system, she has the content that's been pushed to her by the fact that she's in a particular audience, but she also has the ability to go searching for content herself. And there are 5 types of content that Leah could potentially search for here. So first of all, there are courses. So a course is a series of activities in kind of on a page, if you will. So when I design course pages in Totara, I always go back to basics of my L&D history of what I want to achieve. So who my audience is, what are my aims and objectives, and I build my courses based upon those. So what visual aids would I need, or what visual aids would enhance the course? Do I need a PowerPoint? Do I need a piece of e-learning? But the activities on a course page can be anything from a PDF, a piece of e-learning content. It could be the seminar activity, which the seminar activity is the way to book on face-to-face or virtual or digital sessions, which I'll show you shortly. Or it could be a quiz, it could be an assessment that somebody has to pass to show their competence at something. So all those activities can be made up onto a course page, and the course page, such as Introduction to Mental Health, contains all those within. If I just jump into this one very quickly, one that I've already completed, you can see here that visually, this course doesn't have many images, but you can make a course look as fantastic as you want. That's down to your imagination. But you can see here that this a series of activities. So there's a PDF document somebody has to download. There are a couple of web links. There is a piece of e-learning content, and there is a face-to-face event or a digital event that somebody has to sign up to. So that's the first type of content. The next type is programs. So programs is predominantly a group of courses. I always think of induction programs. So an induction program may contain a course such as health and safety, vision and values of the organization. There could be data protection courses. There could be different types of courses that all form part of a program. Leadership programs, management development programs. They contain multiple courses and they can be assigned to groups of users, again, based upon audiences or actually individually as well. So you can assign them at an individual level. Now, a certification is slightly different to a program because a certification is used predominantly for compliance. And the best example or the easiest example to articulate is if you think of a first aid course. So first aid work course, when somebody initially does it, it's a 3-year course. However, sorry, a 3-day course, it didn't take 3 years, but you're accredited for 3 years, shall we say. At the end of that, you have to do another 1-day course or a top-up course. However, you know, that kind of works. Now, a certification basically means that one course expires and the learner has to do another one. So they're certified to be first aiders. They're certified to conduct health and safety risk assessments. But basically, a certification is very similar to a program. It just expires at a particular point in time. So they can have a flexible expiry date, and then the learners have to retake that content or a different piece of content based upon the recertification path. Again, this can all be automated with notifications and audiences, so it does take a lot of that administrative burden away from learners. And yeah, so that's kind of it at the moment for the different types of learning. I'm going to go on to playlists and resources in a moment, but Meredith, would you mind sharing the next poll for me, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. One of the strange things, I can't see the polls, but if you would just like to answer the poll question there. Again, you know, we're not gathering any information. We're not going to sell your data on or anything. This is literally just for our benefits.
In fact, it's anonymous, so even if we wanted to, we couldn't.
Oh, even better, even better. Excellent, thank you for that. Are there any questions, Meredith?
There are not, I'm afraid. Come on, folks, make Lee work for it. Please do post any questions in the Q&A.
Yeah, please do, and hopefully Meredith will be able to answer them for me. Right, okay, so I'm still logged in as Leah. I'm still logged in as the learner, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into basically a different part of the system now. I'm going to look at playlists and resources, but I can seamlessly click on your library, and within here, this is content that Leah has created herself. So you can see Leah is a fan of the band Pros. She's also a CIPD person, so she's created the content there. And it's also a place where people can share content with you as well. So, you know, that kind of collaboration that can go on. So here you can see that this Career Booster workbook has been shared with me. There are a few icons here at the bottom. So the thumbs up icon is basically people have liked this resource. You can give it a thumbs up. The speech bubble means that there's been one comment on that piece of content. It's been shared as well, and also it's in a playlist. So if I was to just click on this content, then I can go through, have a look at what the content is, download the workbook if I need to, but also add comments. And this is where you build up the social, you know, that social collaborative learning can be done here. Thanks. This is great. So I'm just going to pop a comment in there, and I'll give the admin user a thumbs up for their comment. I've already liked this, and you can see it's already been shared. Again, content that is shared with you and content in general, you can bookmark. There is the bookmark icon. Once you've ticked that, it will go into you know, the saved resources area. on your system immediately, so you can see that that's saved there. So any resources that you find in the system as you scouring through, you can actually save it for later and look at it at a later date. It's a great way to kind of, again, build up a playlist of topics or of resources that you find interesting. It's very, very simple to add a resource as well. If you just click on the plus button, you can give the resource a title. So this one is going to be called Meredith. You can enter the contents. Again, best practice for me is if you're going to link to a PDF document or a document, or you're going to link to a website, just put an overview of what the content's going to be, so the learner or the people that are going to consume that content can see what it is. You can also upload an image if you wish. I've been doing quite a bit of work on the CIPD recently, so I'll just steal their logo for now. And again, something else that you can add hashtags. Hashtags, anybody that uses Twitter will probably know that a hashtag is just a way of collating bits of information from all over the place that are actually about the same topic. If I just put hashtag, I'm going to put HR. There we go, there's a hashtag there. Or you can create hashtags on the fly as well. So if there isn't already a hashtag in the system, then you can create one. So hashtag Meredith. When you add a piece of content, you can decide who can see this content. So in this case, you can see only I can see the content. I can limit it so that only certain people can see it. So if I just type in Mark, Mark's my manager, so Mark can see it. You can also share it to workspaces too. So workspaces will come on into a moment, but you can share the content to various workspaces. I'm not going to do that because I'm sure that we don't want this piece of nonsense resource going into another workspace. The time to read, once you've selected limited people or everybody, the time to read, basically how long is it going to take somebody to consume this content? Now, if it's less than 5 minutes, it will automatically be tagged by the machine learning in the background as a piece of micro learning. So that can be surfaced in the recommendation block as a piece of micro learning. You don't need to tag it, you don't need to identify it in any other way. It will do it automatically. And if I just click, I'm going to make it available to everybody actually. You can also use topics. Again, topics are searchable. When we were looking at the find learning menu before, those of you that are very observant will see that the topics were one of the filters on the left-hand side. So I'll just pop that into well-being because Meredith looks after my well-being. So there you go, that piece of content's now been built and it's available in the find learning area for people to go and search for, because we've made it available to everybody. Do we have any questions, Meredith?
We do have a question. It relates to the mobile app. Did you want to cover it now, or would you like me to respond to it?
If it's with regards to whether the engage content can be surfaced in the mobile app, at the moment it can't. If it's anything else, then please feel free to do that, Meredith.
I will grab that then.
Thank you. Okay, so we talked about resources. I'm going to talk very quickly about playlists now. Playlists, as I mentioned, are a way of combining content either for yourself or for other people to kind of have a group of resources that are all relevant to the same thing. Now you can see here, Leah's not created any resources, there are none there. So I'm going to click on the plus button. I'm going to call this one music and give it a description. Music I like. You can add a hashtag again. I'll call this music and then click next. And then you decide who can see this. So very similar to the resources, who do you want to be able to see it? Limited people or everybody. And again, you can assign a topic or you can share it specifically with people as well. So even though you're going to make it available to everybody, you might actually want to notify particular people to say this piece of content is there. So I've just popped Finn's name in there. Finn will get a notification saying this music playlist has been shared. You know, maybe it's something that we have in common. Maybe we both like a particular type of music. And you can also assign topics. Once that's done, I can then add my resources. So I can either add new resources or I can select existing resources. So as it's about music, I'm going to select these YouTube videos. Click add. And there you go. I now have a playlist that's available for people to have a look at. You can see these songs are available in 2 playlists. I can share this playlist with other people. You can see it now shows in my library as my playlist. I can keep adding to it. Other people that it's been shared with can rate it as well, which feeds into the recommendation, the machine learning engine in the background. And again, we can also make comments on the playlist, get that collaborative kind of conversation going, probably more around different topics than music, but you know, everybody's different, every organization's different. Sometimes the you know, the learning management systems, the talent experience platforms can actually become a little bit more than a place to go for learning. I used to work with a supermarket chain who used to promote recipes on their learning experience platform. And that was the most popular part of the platform, to be honest with you. So, you know, again, it's always important to think outside the box, think about how people, you know, what will get people engaged with the system, what will get them into the system and get them learning. Okay, next. Any questions about resources and playlists at all?
No, sorry to disappoint you.
No, okay, no worries. I'm going to jump into workspaces now. So workspaces are, again, that area where you can collaborate. So in this case, Leah has created an improving induction workspace, and you can see here it's a hidden workspace, so not everybody has access to this. Leah's the owner. This is the information that she's put, and basically she's trying to look at how to improve the induction program. She's invited other people to help. So you can see there's Leah, there's Mark, and there's a couple of new starters. So she's created almost a small group of people to start looking at how we can improve the induction program within the organization. We can add content to the library as we find it. There is actually a survey in here as well that Leah's created that she's shared with the 4 members of her team. And again, these kind of pulse surveys are really, really useful for getting almost a temperature check of what's happening within the organization or what's happening within a particular area of the business. A kind of a really good way to get that quick information, that quick pulse point. She's also a member of the HR workspace, where you can see she's introduced Neil to everybody. People will start to say hello to Neil in there. There are 10 members in this workspace. And hopefully the discussions will start to build up. And again, it's all about that collaborative learning, that social learning, and people just kind of engaging with each other, particularly in the current climate where, or in organisations like Totra, where actually we're global. So our head office is in New Zealand. We have an office in the US, and we have our UK or EMEA head office in Brighton. So it's a real good way of kind of bringing people together and actually feeling part of the community. I've only been with Totra for about 3 months now, and the workspaces that we have actually really worked to make me feel part of the wider organization. So, you know, from personal experience, it's been great. You can ask questions, you get answers back really, really quickly. It's a big cultural thing. It's, you know, part of the organization, trying to get people to embrace this sharing. But if you think of all the knowledge that's out there within an organization, within your organizations, it's vast. And having these workspaces is a great way to tap into that wider organizational knowledge, which often just gets lost, especially with an organization that's dispersed, either globally or dispersed because of the nature of the business that it is. So I'll just check the time. Okay, right. So the final area I'm just going to look at, I'm actually going to log out of Leah's profile. I'm going to very quickly log in as a manager, just to show you that I'm still in the same platform. I've got a different dashboard, although it looks fairly similar. You can see this says my team. It has the recommendations, it has the buttons, but it also has some information for me as well about how my team's performing. So how my team are doing with regards to certifications, with regards to course completions, with regards to programs, which there's 2 assigned and none of them are complete. But also we can see down here, I've actually got the competency details as well, of people like Nicola, Leah, who the lady I was that I just signed in on. So if I actually click on Leah here, as a manager, I can see Leah's competency profile and see how she is progressing towards mastery of her role. So she has been assigned 3 lots here, and again I've used the CIPD profession map for those of you that are familiar with it. So we can see professional courage and influence. Leah is competent. That's superb. So she's that's an area of the business that, if we were looking for developing skills in professional courage and influence, then I could perhaps look at Leah and say, okay, use her as a mentor, as a coach, or even as a kind of peer-to-peer bit of collaboration again, and say, you know, Leah, why don't you create a workspace around professional courage and influence, share your best practice. But it's a great way to kind of share those skills across the organization, and also have that instant access to the gaps within your team, within the organization. I just go back to my home page. I'm going to jump into this health and safety course. I mentioned earlier about adaptive learning and kind of how completion of things on a course page can change the way that it looks. So this course page, you can see here that is it says that there's an activity test your knowledge that needs to be completed and passed until I can sign up for a particular event. There's also a couple of things here. One that I can mark complete myself. And once I've marked that as complete, it actually opens up some more content, which in this case is a piece of e-learning. Please forgive the piece of e-learning. It's not very good. It's just a piece that I use for demonstration purposes. But once that's been viewed and marked as complete, then that can also then open up you can see here a quiz, and I can attempt the quiz. Again, I always call these ITV questions because there's always a very, very obvious answer. So is health and safety important? Which of these are workplace risks? I suppose tennis would be a workplace risk if you worked in a tennis place. And I submit that, and then I get some feedback. How did I do? I got 1 out of 3. I did not pass, and it gives me the feedback on those questions. So I could do the attempt the quiz again or not, but because I haven't passed it, I will be able to do another piece of content. So you could have multiple quizzes. If people fail the quiz, then you can perhaps give them a little bit more e-learning or a little bit more in-depth content about the subject matter, or even ask them to attend a face-to-face session. Any questions at all, Meredith, come through?
No, I've answered a few. We've got, but there's nothing active at the moment.
Excellent, thank you very much. I'm just going to pass that assessment. can't leave it there. Mark, the manager, getting just 1 out of 3. Because Mark has now passed that assessment, and again, it could be that he's failed, he can actually book onto a face-to-face event. The seminar functionality that's available within the system means that you can allow people to book onto face-to-face, virtual face-to-face sessions. You can see this one's going to be in a digital Google Meet room. I'm already booked on it, but as soon as the session is ready to be launched, you will get a link in this box here that says join the session. Click straight in and it takes you straight through. And we've got an integration with Zoom and Microsoft Teams for this. So when you're setting up your seminar sessions with Zoom or Microsoft Teams, the button will appear and it takes people straight in. Also, when people book on, they get the notifications and they get the iCal invites to say, to block out their calendar. And moving swiftly on, I'm just going to very quickly log in as a manager just to kind of round the talent experience platform off. And I'm just going to show you reports. So the system itself, that has multiple functionality when it comes to reports in there. You can have very, very basic reports that just show learner completions. A learner has completed a course, or you can have global reports where you can see where compliance statistics are in a particular area of the business. So you can, there are embedded reports that are already built in there, you can see here, but you can also build your own reports as well. So if I was to click on create report, I'm given a list of reports that I'm able to create. I can filter them based upon whether it's going to be an administrator report, a learner or manager report. Also the report source, so courses, for example, if I want to look at course completions, and I click on the report, and then I can create and view the report straight away, or I can create and edit, which means it will take me into the report manager where I can change the columns, add new filters, and basically build a bespoke report. One of the beauties of reports within TOTRA is you can schedule reports. So again, back when I was an administrator of TOTRA, I used to get questions all the time. Can you send me this report on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? Within TOTRA, you can actually schedule those reports so that the people that request them can actually get them dropped into their inbox on a weekly, monthly basis. Again, it's a cultural thing, but one of the best ways to kind of avoid that is to get people to look at the content that's actually there and display the content that they need on a dashboard for them. So you can have multiple dashboards and encourage them to go into the system themselves. And again, that increases the engagement. So that is a quick run through of the kind of end-to-end TOTRA experience platform from a user's point of view, a manager's point of view. And I've only shown the admin part of the platform because the reporting is vital. So Meredith, do we have any more questions at all?
No questions.
Oh, you've been very, very kind to me, everybody. So thank you very much. Do we have an exit poll?
We do. Let's run that.
Excellent. So if you just want to complete this poll, I would like to thank you for your time on this Wednesday afternoon.